Rylan Clark got in bother for an anti-immigrant rant. I don't know what's happened since I left the country. When I was here, Rylan Clark was not the vanguard of culture wars. And I've come back for the Americans that are listening. Rylan Clark was on X Factor.
This is not an area of expertise for
Really?
me. No.
Okay. Rylan Clark did reality TV, some sort of...
Right.
He pivoted that, as many British people do, into presenting and commentary and a fluffy morning TV show type stuff. And said, at least from what I saw, which may not have been the entire clip, but at least what I saw, as close to a heavily caveated, highly equivocating, very gentle approach of actually not even commenting about immigration, but saying, if immigration continues, people will get upset. And this is what people are saying, not what I'm saying. This is what some people are saying, and they seem to be upset. And the issue of reporting on reporting was sufficient to get Rylan Clark tip of the spear of the culture wars.
Well, right. And he was so heavily caveated in that clip, as you say, to the point where he said the thing that I just debunked 5 minutes earlier, which is he said, oh, Britain has always been a nation of immigrants, which it hasn't. But what he's doing is he's basically saying, I'm not a bad person. Here's some things that some people, not me, here's some things that some people, not me, are saying, right? Which is how you you dip your toe into the waters of, and what I think is probably happening is, like most people in the country now, when you speak to normal people, like ordinary people who are not on TV every day, there's a kind of, like to the point where the Lib Dems are privately acknowledging that illegal immigration is a massive problem, right? So basically the point is the overwhelming majority of people in this country think this is a big deal and everybody knows it. It's just that in the media, you're still not supposed to say it.
I've got to be honest, that is a major worry. Now, taking politics out of this, let's just look at the country, Tim.
Yeah.
This country is built on immigration, legal immigration. You know, a lot of the nurses, the doctors that have saved my mum's life have come over here from other countries, are living a great life. They're paying into this tax system. They're helping this country thrive. I find it absolutely insane that all these people, one, are risking their lives coming across the channel like that they are. But two, when they get here, it does seem, and I think this is why a lot of Labour voters as well are now sitting there going, there's something wrong here. It seems, welcome, come on in. This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel. Here's the phones. Here's the iPad. Here's the NHS in reception of your hotel. Here's 3 meals a day. Here's a games room in the hotel. Have a lovely time and welcome. And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling. They're homeless. Let's not even discuss our homeless. That people living on the streets, veterans, all of this. Now, this isn't me getting on my soapbox because let me be honest, everyone's going to have an opinion about this and you're going to upset someone some which way. I believe that something major needs to be done about this. The money that it's costing us, the amount of people that are in this country that we have no idea who they are, what they've done, what they're capable of, and clearly we see a lot of it in the press at the moment, some of what some are doing, it's not all, what some are doing to people in this country. How can, if I turn up at Heathrow Airport as a British citizen and I've left my passport in Spain, I've got to stand at that airport and won't be let in and got to get this. But if I arrive on a boat in Calais, I get taken to a 4-star hotel.
So Rylan Clark said something along the lines that the UK is built on legal immigration, which helped to enrich the country in various ways, make reference to his mom and nursing. But the phones, it's not given by the taxpayer, it's given by the charities, self-funding. And then he mentioned about iPads. And let's think sensibly. What are the odds, from what we know about the UK government and how generous they are, that they're giving away iPads? I've never had an iPad. Nobody I know has ever had an iPad. Why would iPads be front of mind? The UK government are not giving out free damn iPads. So let's just clarify that. If anything, again, it's going to be the goodwill of charities and things like that. But it's amazing how lies take root and have their own momentum. He also mentioned about 4-star hotels. Now, in the entirety of UK history, would there have been at least one asylum seeker that's been booked into what was a 4-star hotel before it became converted, usually these days, into an asylum type hostel? So if you're looking back to the entirety of history, there's bound to have been one. But more recently, they need somewhere they can place people. And there was a news article and they showed one of the rooms, and in a room for one person, they had bunk beds and had 3 or 4 people in there. So we're not talking about luxury. And as soon as you go down that route and as soon as you take away the receptionists, because obviously the receptionist's not going to be there for an asylum hostel, it is no longer a hotel, and it's most definitely no longer 4-star. And I think he seemed to be saying that any kind of housing that we have should be given to the homeless. And it must be because he doesn't understand there's already help for the homeless and already help for the veterans. It's almost like saying if we wrote down a list of 100 things that matter, we won't move from number 2 until we've satisfied number 1. Now, does that make logical sense? So if we had a list of 100 things most important to the UK, it would be the logic, well, food's most important. So until we've saturated everything from food, Whew. Then we move on to number 2. Is that a sensible way to go about it? Or does the 6th richest country in the world, big enough GDP, gross domestic product, that it can tackle more than one thing at the same time? And we're still talking about commitments that we signed up for in international law regarding immigration, and in particular asylum. He also talks about no idea who these asylum seekers are and what they're doing. Now, there's various elements to that. Now, the whole concept of asylum is that you can't just sit at home waiting for somebody to knock your door and maltreat you or kill you. That makes absolutely no logical sense. The concept of asylum is this is a situation where you need to get yourself out, and that's exactly what they do. So you're not going to know what they've done. But in this country, people are innocent until proven guilty. And under the circumstances of a true asylum seeker trying to escape persecution, it only makes absolute sense. And it is, again, the international law, which we had a massive part invited in the first place and that we've signed up to. So if we didn't want to do it, we shouldn't have done it. And if we no longer want to be part of it, we have to be part of trying to change it or withdraw from it. And that's the only sensible conversation. In terms of what asylum seekers are doing, it's the same as anybody else. As I said, innocent until proven guilty. And of course, should evidence support it, then they should be locked up, depending on the severity. Simple as that. If it's very severe, they're treated severely. And if it's not severe, then not so much. But we don't know until we know, and it's not based on hearsay, it's not based on best guessing just because they're an asylum seeker, they must be the worst person in the world. It's based on actual facts by people who are trained to find out this information, otherwise known as lawyers and judges. This is a system that we already know exists in the world. That's why it's so disingenuous to talk about something else. But here we go. This is what we got. Let's move on. But one more thing, he also got confusion about you can't go on holiday and expect to be put into a hotel by the host country. But of course, he wouldn't be going on holiday and claiming asylum, because that's two separate things. So if you're going on holiday, if you don't have a hotel, then you're sleeping rough. But if you went to another country with the intention of claiming asylum, then you would be treated as an asylum seeker and entitled to everything else which is stipulated under those laws. As simple as that.